our Madam Achla saying that this is the very appropriate workshop and it is the need of the hour. Our Prime Minister is taking lot of initiatives. Our country has come out of a very peculiar situation with change of regime, where lot of changes are required to be done in the country at different organizations, whether they are educational, health, or business organizations, or for that matter at national level for defense of the country. If all these changes, transformation, if not done, then with this large population which is there, so many jobs required, so many things required by the people and not being developed at that pace, industry not being that efficient, and growth is stagnant, and so many problems you can say. This has happened because of certain problems faced in the last few years. So there is a requirement of surgery and some sort of transformation. So here I feel there are 2-3 types of people. Those who know about this well, strategic management, because you are from educational institutions. So for them certain things may be too preliminary, but my idea of organizing this workshop in collaboration with this MSME, Technological Development Center, Agra, is that first we wanted to get in alliance with them. They keep on advertising so many technological development programs. So we approached them and we have been designated as center for this. One part is that, so we are successfully in this now. For you people who have registered earlier, the certificates have already come, and we are totally in alignment with the MSME, and this kind of programs will continue to be here. So we will arrange some conferences, MDPs, all these things will go on here, and they will be all under the aegis of this Center for Technology Development, MSME, Agra. Dr. Madan is the one who is coordinating this program. So those of you who are experts in different fields and want to be part of these programs can give him your details so that he can call you here as expert to conduct or to participate if you want to say gain knowledge and be more wise. So Dr. Madan is the nodal officer for this purpose. I shall be covering now some basic preliminary things like business environment and strategic management process. And once we reach that strategic management model, I'll stop there, and then Dr. Naik will take on. And the best thing to understand here is that it is a very vast subject. It starts from study analysis of the business environment and slowly builds up, and you then look at the integrated strategic management model. Part of that you may be experts, part of it you know where to look for details as and when you get into any strategic planning. So one cannot be expert in all the things. So like we look at law, okay, which is crime, what section to be imposed, what kind of charge sheet, all this has to be looked into books. But some part is in which you are expert. So that kind of expertise I feel is there, and then you should know where you fit and what all areas you should develop in. So that approach will help you. And after 3 days, with Dr. Naik's contribution, that of Professor Mittal, Dean, University School of Management Studies, and Dr. Sumit Chaudhary, they are all experts in their own fields, so they will be taking some portions of this. Okay. So with this, let's go to time is less because Dr. Naik also requires about 2 hours to do this, so you will have to continue sitting here for some more time. You see this business environment as you see today in the world level, country level, so many changes are taking place. World has become a global market. Things are totally changing, dynamic, complex also, and very multifaceted. So many people have perceived things in different ways, look at them differently, and come out with some new ideas, so many things. And it has got a long-term impact. So very preliminary aspect. So we have to look at the aggregate of all the activities, events, and so many things happening in the vicinity of the organizations. That is what is the business environment. And in today's context, you have to look what is happening in Iraq, what is happening in Syria, how the oil prices are coming down, what is happening in SAARC, who is opposing us, what developments took place yesterday when the Prime Minister is going with very pragmatic and beautiful ideas, but somebody is carrying that old animosity and trying to oppose for the sake of opposing. So all these things do have impact on you. So this is what it is. You have to look at all the things, and I think that complexity has to be understood. So many factors, so many influences, factors reacting with factors and generating new factor whose understanding by the manager of a beginner or of that level, that impact may not be understood at all. Dynamism, total dynamic. So much information is not available to the people who think of planning and doing things. Access to that information is not there, but the changes are taking place. How Syria is being destroyed by world politics. It was a good culture, good nation, but today by pitting one set of community against the other, the whole this thing is being destroyed. Same thing now, somebody saw the opportunity and he said, okay, now half of Syria, half of Iraq, and I become the boss. He has declared himself as a bigger boss. Now these things are going to have a very serious implications for you. How it is going to influence India, what is the future going to be, you have to really appreciate. If I say, I was listening to some debate yesterday on BBC or some other place, the plan of this new group which is emerging today in so-called ISIL, they have a plan that Haqqani network in Balochistan, which is operating against our interests and trying to dislodge us from Afghanistan, and Al-Qaeda Taliban in Punjab area, Punjab province of Pakistan, these two combined together under the umbrella of Al-Qaeda want to immediately have a foothold in Kashmir and then create a situation similar to what is happening in Syria, and India to be broken into as many states as it had at the time of independence. See the strategy. They failed to do anything to India right from 47, but now this kind of strategies are being adopted. So see the factors which are operating in our close vicinity. We are talking of developing our country and making it a modern power, but somebody is designing and planning these strategies outside. How will our businesses, how our economic development, all these things will get affected. So their effect you have to appreciate. It will affect the whole thing. Country may be destroyed. Today Syria, there is nothing left there. So these are certain things. So look at dynamism, complex, multifaceted and long-term impact. It's very important. Not only looking at it from the, what do you call, from a small business unit level. You are professors, you are university people, you are going to tell the students so many things. So you have to look at a very broad aspects, at national, international, then coming down to right up to individual level. So strategic management affects everybody right from that level to individual level. Businesses are small, you can say, economic development of organ of the society. You set up a business where you purchase something, you buy something, you manufacture something, manufacturing plants, very big manufacturing plants like BHEL, Bell, Hindustan Steel Limited, big things, steel plants, or small unit in sector 7. So all these are part of the businesses, business organizations. Operations of one are so big, operations of another one are small. So all marketing organizations, all products, all services which you provide to the society, they constitute business. So what is the aim of creating business? आपको चाहिए AC चाहिए? You want AC? You don't want AC? आपको AC नहीं चाहिए? Please help us. So we are here, this business role has to be understood. You may be, for teaching students, you are, say, looking at some kind of business unit. But I am looking at things right from national level down to individual and then business units also. This is strategic management is applicable everywhere. You have to study what is happening in the environment, what influences are operating, what changes, how it is impacting you, whether it is providing you an opportunity or it is providing you a threat. And accordingly, you have to modulate your actions, activities, projects, anything, whatever changes you want to make. You want to change your structure, you want to induct more knowledgeable, experienced people, whatever changes you want to do, but you have to either exploit the opportunity or you have to stop the threat from, say, disorganizing you. So that kind of understanding you can achieve through very important structured analysis of this environment which is there. So you have to see that this business will survive or get or decline or become, functioning at a lower level of efficiency. It depends how you keep on monitoring, scanning the environment and how you take actions to further improve it internally, take some strategic initiatives, utilize those opportunities and grow and become bigger, do so many things. So that is what the aim is. For this, the strategic management is the formalized process. How it works, that is what I am trying to build up now. And once I reach a particular level where I say, okay, this is a strategic model in which where you fit in as individuals, or what is the total study required, I think that will give you a fair idea. In today's session, this session, my aim is to take you there. After that, Dr. Naik will be building up on certain aspects. Dr. Mittal will be covering another set of aspects, and then Dr. Chaudhary. Understood? Fine. Now, okay, before we proceed further on this, I would like to give you 2-3 examples so that those who are totally new to this subject generally comprehend and understand it, how it works. I am from the military, my background is from military, most of you know. During 1971, or in 47, when the country got partitioned, Pakistan came into existence. From then onwards, they continued to have some kind of animosity with India. They have been hatching various conspiracies and trying to see that India is disturbed. We had a war in 47, second war came in 65, third came in 71. In 71, things were so very classic, you will be surprised and you will understand strategic management. That is through 71 war I am trying to bring to you how strategy works. We found that India became democracy after independence, and our democracy took roots, parliament, justice system, our leaders, they were very good, constitution adopted, everything was in place. But it did not happen so in Pakistan. There they disrupted their process. Our founder of Pakistan, Mr. Jinnah, he had some intentions and he was taking the country in one direction, but some military people, they jumped into fray, they killed their prime minister, Mr. Jinnah died, and it was taken control by military. Now once the power came to military, they felt this is pretty wonderful and the whole country is at your disposal and you exploit it and enjoy it and have a lot of wealth in your pockets. They never thought of leaving the power. So all the time there was a military dictator. From one time Ayub Khan to another. In 71, General Yahya Khan was the president of Pakistan. So they had also decided that like India, we should have a constitution, we should also adopt a democratic setup, and we should also look after our people and be a good nation. But that was not to be so. So elections were declared, elections were held. Earlier there were two wings, East Pakistan and West Pakistan. So sometimes trouble at eastern border, sometimes trouble at western border. India also headache, constant headache, perpetual problem. Now they are fighting, they adopted election and decided to have elections. Fortunately or unfortunately, eastern wing, which is mostly Bengali speaking, they already won the elections. All the seats which were large in number in eastern Pakistan, they won majority. Western Pakistan was Urdu speaking, dominated by Punjabi leadership. They failed. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto this side and Sheikh Mujibur Rahman of Awami League this side. So two leaders. Now Zulfikar Ali Bhutto does not want to accept Sheikh Mujibur Rahman's leadership. So what is happening now? See, some very environmental disturbance is taking place. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto tells the general that we should really control these Bengalis. They are creating far too much trouble. And we do not want to have this Mujibur Rahman as the Prime Minister of Pakistan. So he agreed. He said, why? Not required. So what system were they following? It was at the whims and fancies of some individuals. No system at all, you can say. When this thing happened, army was moved to eastern Pakistan. Army went, formations took positions. They really started killing everybody. They will kill innocents, civilians, ladies, children, and it became a big problem. The people there started running away. They came to West Bengal. Millions of refugees from East Pakistan came to India. Then they went to Assam. It became very difficult for our government to feed so many people. They disturbed our two states and it became a headache for India. So where is it happening? It is happening outside. It is not our creation. We had no role. But somebody is doing some wrong thing, but it is affecting us. If you take India as a unit, your business unit you can call it. So our business was getting affected to feed so many millions, and Bengalis reached right up to Delhi. Now what to do? Mrs. Gandhi told that time our Field Marshal Manekshaw to do something and march your army to East Pakistan and control the situation. That was sometimes in the month of August or so. He said, no, sorry madam, there are bloody floods. So much water is flowing from Nepal side and Bangladesh is totally flooded. The situation doesn't allow our army to move through that kind of terrain. I cannot do it. So Prime Minister's directive not being followed by the chief, it was a big thing. He said, okay, I'll choose the time of my own choosing and then I'll follow your orders. She said, okay, do it. He was he said, okay, in December we shall start the operations. In the meantime, Mrs. Gandhi, the Prime Minister, went all over the world, spoke to big leaders and prepared the public opinion against this genocide which was being done there. They all agreed. Somebody ready to help in this way, that way, whatever way. But she went around. American president bullshitted her. He said he was totally anti and there was no agreement on so many things. All this is happening where? In the external world, external environment, and it is affecting India. And it became an unnecessary, undesirable activity for India. We had no business to go and attack anybody in this. When this was happening, Mrs. Gandhi then decided, okay, the responsibility to liberate Bangladesh was given to Eastern Command. Because we had to take care of things this side also. Pakistan may do bigger mischief this side and we may get in trouble. So forces from this side of the country were deployed this side to just stop wherever we are and that side to march in. Now Pakistan thought that let them come in and we will fight and we will engage them and we will engage them for so long, like USA got involved in Vietnam and never got out for 30 years and finally we defeated, Vietnam defeated say US forces. We will do same thing. We will butcher them, we will destroy them, so much attrition and they will be not able to liberate also. This was their thought. Our field marshal was very intelligent, very jovial and very great. What he did, he said, okay, we will develop operations from West Bengal side, from Sikkim side, from Assam side and from Agartala side. From 4 directions forces will move in. Fine. So now how will Pakistani forces deployed there will take care already thrusts coming from 4 directions. 3 core, 4 core, like this. There no need of getting into that, just broad understanding. So our strategy was this. Second part of the strategy was, I heard General Jacob, Chief of Staff's lecture in the College of Combat Mao. He said, we decided not to fight the Pakistanis. Let them remain deployed. If they are deployed in Rohini area, let them remain deployed in Rohini area. We'll go via bypass and your this other locality, and we'll go further, and we have to reach Central Secretariat. We'll go there. We'll not fight them. So we bypassed them. So there was no fierce battle at many places. So no destruction of our forces. Some battles took place, but they totally avoided it. And finally we zeroed on to Dhaka. Our Air Force was very active, and in no time they made that Eastern Wing Air Force ineffective. So there was no threat from the air also. And we were there at Dhaka, and we are Field Marshal making announcements that you have been surrounded from all directions. Please lay down the arms. Arms were laid out. General, क्या नाम था उनका? Arora, he accepted the surrender of General A.K. Niazi. It was done, a historic event. It was in Dhaka. After that, about 90,000, troops of Pakistani army were arrested. They were brought to central India in Jabalpur, Sagar, Dhana camp, in this Jhansi, this area, and they were looked after and they were kept as prisoners. Then Mrs. Gandhi agreed for negotiations. When negotiations were held, she said, Shimla agreement is a result of that, negotiations. There they agreed, okay, look, in future, any incident or problem between India and Pakistan should be resolved bilaterally. There should be no involvement of third party. So Mrs. Gandhi is scoring or achieving objectives after objectives. She liberated this. She controlled the